Hi to everyone. In this session, I am going to discuss about the term 2 portion stack using list implementation with Python programming language. Since the portion has been reduced due to corona impact, I am handling only the portion which is subjected to term 2 syllabus. So here we are going to see only about the stack in data structure. Since the mark given to this term 2 is 5 marks related to stack portion, I think it's enough to deal the basic questions. Even though it's enough, I have dealt with the evaluation of the expressions, both postfix as well as the infix, as well as the conversion of infix to postfix and prefix. Since I don't want to limit the portion, I am presenting this to the students not only for this current set, also for the students who will be coming in the next year also. So I am going to deal with all the things but without the programming. So here it is a quick revision part. I think it will be very useful to you at this time. So we will move on to the session. As I have said that this is the computational thinking and programming 2, that is the term 2 portion. Here you are having data structure, stack, operations on stack, and implementation of stack using list. The lab you have dealt with this with the Python programming language. So I am going to neglect the programming language here and we are going to deal with the implementation only. So first, the terms which you want to know about this is data. So you should know what is the difference between the data and then the information. Data are the raw data facts. That is raw data or facts, the other name given to them it is. And then it is the values without the meaning. It is in unorganized manner and the data are in the form of bits and then the bytes. For example, if you are having a syllabus, for framing a syllabus you will be collecting what are all the topics related to a subject. For example, if it is a computer science subject for a 12th standard students, they will be collecting all the information related to that. We can add networks, we can add data structures. In data structures we can add either linear data structure or non-linear data structure, and in networks what algorithms we can introduce. Likewise they will be collecting all the informations but they didn't frame that data. These are all called as the data. Then moving to the information, if you are framing the syllabus and this is the portion left to this part, that is in term 1, if you are having in term 1 they have categorized and they have given this, and in term 2 they have categorized and given these are the parts which are to be discussed. So that are called as the information, that is they are processed, organized and structured data. So they are the raw data which does not give the meaning, as well as they are in the form of bits and bytes, but information they are processed and then they are organized and the structured data. For example, the syllabus framed for a particular department. Next thing what you have to know regarding this is data type. Then what is data type? It is a set of values, that is already so that it is said that data is a value. So it is a set of values with well defined operations. What are all the operations that can be performed on that data? It is called as the data type. The other word to that is also called as ADT or abstract data type, but it is not in the syllabus. So let us leave with this. What is data type? The set of values with a well defined operation. Next, what is data structure? You are going to implement the data in a structure, that is you are going to present it in the form of a structure. For example, since I am dealing with this framing of a syllabus, the syllabus will be containing unit 1, unit 2 to up to unit 10, and in that unit 10 up to each and every unit you will be dealing with the chapters. Likewise, it is a way of framing a structure. So data structure, it is a physical implementation of the data. So here we are going to deal with some types of data structures, and in your syllabus the particular specification is about the stack data structure. Then you have to know about the difference between the data type and then the data structure. So I have said that it is a implementation physical structure. What is data type? I have said that data type, they are the specific values with the well defined operations performed on them. So their input and then the output behavior will be dealt with this. For example, the integer, string and then the float, these are all called as the data type. So we can say that based on integer, how the values will be and what are all the operations that can be performed on it. Likewise, string, how the string will be and what are the operations that can be performed on the string. So this is the thing. Here you see I have said that physical implementation with the organized data, and then you are going to store, access and manipulate the data which has been stored there. In your book, if you are having chapters unit and then the chapters, you can easily refer in unit 2 chapter 5 means you can go and easily handle that chapter. Likewise, it is an organized and we can access the manipulate the data. And here we are having linear and non-linear data structures. We will see in detail about this. Then data types, they can be directly assigned to the variables. You know that assigning of values to the variables, so it can be directly assigned. But when you are going to manipulate based on the data structure, algorithms are needed. So algorithms with the operations are to be defined. We have to define the algorithms for these purpose, store, access and manipulation. So this is the example how we are assigning the values to the variables, and here we are going to define algorithms for this data structures. These are some of the operations and then the defining of the structures we will see in the coming slides. So data structure types. So here classification of data structure. So how you are going to deal with the data structure. I have said that we are having linear and non-linear. Before that we will get into the basic difference, that is the basic type, simple and then the compound data type. The simple data types are called, the data structures are called as the primitive data structures, and compound are called as the complex data structures. Then what is the primitive? That is array or the linear list. They are called as the primitive. And here you can say that the array, you know that it is a sequence of elements which has been arranged in an order, and then the elements that can be inserted into an array may be a integer or a character or a boolean. Likewise you can say. So this is a simple data structure. Then complex data structure, here it is a combination of the simple data structures. So it is a complex data structures. Here it can be classified as linear and then the non-linear. You know that in linear we are having linked list, stack and then queue. In non-linear we are having trees and then graphs. In your portion only trees are there, so I am leaving with this. So linear and then the non-linear, it comes under the complex data structure. The other name for that is compound data structures. So simple data structures, they are built from the primitive data types, that is from the arrays and then the linear list. Compound data structures, combination of the simple data structures. Here we have been categorized as linear and then the non-linear. In linear, the level will be single level, and in non-linear it will be a multi-level. In Python, we are having the built-in data structures, that is list, tuples, dictionaries and sets. These are the data structures available in this Python programming language. Then operations on the data structures. So what are all the operations? Insertion, you know that it is an addition, and then deletion. It is how will you delete? After searching the element only you can remove. So search and removal is the two process included in the deletion. Next is searching, search from a specified point, and then traversal, processing in sequence, that is one by one element it has to traverse. And then sorting, you are going to arrange in a specific order. It may be of any order, ascending, descending. Likewise merging, you are going to combine the data structure, but you should keep in mind that two similar data structures only to be combined. Two stack, two queues, two linear lists, two linked lists. Likewise you can combine only the two similar data structures. Next we can see some informations related to all the data structures, then we can move on to stack in detail. So linear list or the array, this is a primitive data structure or a simple data structure. Example to this is a name list, a finite number of list, and then similar data types. Here you see the data, that is the data type in this data structure should be of similar. For example, if you are having an integer array, means all the elements should be of integer, likewise character, float. So it should be a named list, a name should be given, and it has a finite number, that is you have to define the number of elements of the array and then the similar data types. Here we are having categories: one dimension, two dimensional, and then multi-dimensional, and also the index starts at the position 0. Next is the stack. We will see in detail. Going for queue, it is a first in first out data structure. The other name to here is last in last out. And then here we are having insertion is taking at one place, rear, and deletion at the front. Next data structure is linked list. Here we are having two categories. One is singly and then the doubly linked list. In singly linked list, we are having one pointer which is pointing to the next element, and doubly linked list, we are having two pointers, previous and next. I'll show the diagrams to explain this. Next is the, here it is a non-linear data structure. Here in non-linear data structure, you can go for multi-level nodes, roots, and then leaves. So here this is the simple data structure or the primitive data structure, and these are the complex data structures. Within this complex data structures, these three are coming under the linear data structure, and this is the non-linear data structure. Here we can see the example to understand the data structures. Okay, here this is the array data structure. As I have said, the element should be defined, that is the finite number of elements, and then the index will be starting at the position 0. You will be having the same data type, that is the similar data type elements will be arranged in the array. So the real time example for this is, these are some of the real life arrays. For example, you see I have also said that one dimensional array, two dimensional array, and then three dimensional array. Okay, here only one row. In two dimensional array we are having rows and then the columns. In three dimensional we'll be having like this, the 3D structures will be showing, that is the row. Again, one row you'll be having the rows and then the columns. So this is the 3D array. For example, you see these are the real life arrays. That is, these are the things you see. Dice is a three-dimensional array, you can say that, and here you can say how the rows and columns are arranged in your remote. The bottom buttons, you can say that in second row, third button, likewise you can say. So these are some of the real life arrays. The next data structure is queue. You all know, well known about the queue, that is standing in a queue if you are taking tickets or having darshan at temple. So here you will be having the addition at the point here, and the, sorry, addition at this point, and then the deletion at this point. So rear end you will be performing the addition, and at the front end you will be performing the deletion. Moving to the singly linked list and then the doubly linked list. In singly linked list, as I have said, we can have only one pointer which is pointing to the next element. So here there is no back hierarchy, only the forward hierarchy will be passed. So this is one example related to this singly linked list. And going for doubly linked list, we are having two pointers, that is one pointing to the previous node and the other pointing to the next node. So each node will be having the pointer pointing to the previous node as well as to the next node. So here the example is the navigation button we will be using in the internet, that is in browsing history. You can go either backward or to the frontward. So this is one category related to this doubly linked list. Then the non-linear data structure, you are having only tree. So I have shown here the tree. Here in tree you will be having a root node, and then these are the children, and at the bottommost level you will be having the leaf nodes. Okay, so here we can say that, as I said, in linear data structures, that is the linear, we will be having only one level. Here non-linear we are having multiple levels. So this shows the levels. This is first level, second level, and then the third level, and this is the fourth level. So multi-level means non-linear data structure. Single level hierarchy means it is a linear data structures like stack, queue, and then the linked list. Okay, the real-time example for this tree is This is one hierarchy, grandparents and then parents and then the children. So this is one hierarchy which will be giving the multi-level. Okay, so these are some of the real life examples related to the data structures, and here also we can perform the insertion and then the deletion. In queue we are having insertion and deletion at one end and then the deletion at the other end. Likewise in array you can perform the addition by searching the index, as well as you can perform the deletion by searching the index. Linked list also the same. You can perform the addition and deletion by referring to the pointer of the node. Then moving to your portion, that is the stack. Here in stack it can be defined as last in first out or first in last out. Okay, these are the examples of a real life data structure stack. So how a stack of coins are represented, stack of plates, and then the you see balls has been arranged, and then here the books has been arranged. How will be adding? You will be adding at the top. How you will be deleting? You will be deleting from the top. So insertion and deletion takes at one end, it is called as the top of that stack. So you should understand the difference. Stack where insertion and deletion takes place at one end. In queue, insertion and deletion will be taking at both the ends, that is in front deletion and in back it is the addition, that is the rear end addition, and in the front end it is deletion. In linear list, array, that is the linked list, and then the trees, you can add and delete it by referring to the nodes with the help of the index, pointers, and then the nodes. Next, we are going to deal about the topics stack operations. As I have said, it is performed only at the top. So, and it is a dynamic data structure. Dynamic means you can add and delete at any time. Also, you can perform searching. That is the traversal. So, here the insertion and deletion taking place at the top of the stack. And one thing you want to know about this, the sum of the terms related to this stack are peak, it is called as inspection, and overflow, and then the underflow. Peak means you have to search over this, that is you can inspect the stack, that is in Python. When you are writing the program, this is one word we will be using. Overflow means if the stack size is 10 and if you are going to insert another element, then we can say that it is overflow. If there is no element in the stack, that is an empty case, then it is called as underflow. So you can go for this underflow and overflow when you are performing the stack operation. That is, if you want to pop an element from the stack, you have to check for this underflow condition, that is empty. Is empty checks whether the stack is empty, then you can say that it is underflow, that is there is no elements in the stack. And going for push operation, overflow has to be checked, that is full. You have to check whether the stack is full. If the stack is full, we can say that it is overflow, we can't insert the item. So these two refers to the operations that has to be performed on the stack when doing with the programming language. You have to go for checking of the functions is empty and then is full. So Python will be dealing with the stacks based on the integers, strings, and then list. You can store the integers like these strings, and a list can also be used, that is this is one data. Here if it is the roll number, name, and then the marks. So list can also be used for this implementation of stack. And then the operations on the stack, as I have said, it is a push and pop. Here in your syllabus you are having linear list implementation. How the linear list has been implemented, you know that linear list are arrays. You can be accessing the elements one by one. So first initially empty stack, then add push one element, then push another element, push element. You can perform the operations like pop or peek, anything. Okay. So you can see peek means it will be inspecting the stack, that is it refers to the top of the stack. And then stack dot append, by Python you will be using this stack dot append of item, and then the stack dot pop up. This refers to the list of the stack. Then applications of the stack. So what are all the applications? Reversing a line is the first application. You see, if this is a line, so here I have given only one word. So if how it is going to reverse a line, we can see that first it is going to push the elements one by one. So you see how it has been pushed. First element, so H E L L O. So it is pushing the elements, and then it goes to popping the elements. So when it pops, it will be having O L L E H. So it will be reversing the word which has been pushed. So that is, so pop, when you are performing this, it will be having the reversed array. So here this is the example for reversing a line. The next is the polish strings. What are polish strings? Here you can see polish strings. It refers to the why these strings are needed. First we will know about this. Arithmetic expressions, you know, it will be having the operands and then the operators. But the machine can only understand only two operands and an operator. So if you are having a complex arithmetic expression, it is possible for the humans to understand how the elements has been splitted, and you can give the operator precedence to perform the or calculate the arithmetic expressions. So here this complex arithmetic expressions has to be converted into in this form of only two operands and an operator, so that the machine can understand and perform or evaluate the arithmetic expressions. So for this case the polish strings are needed. Next, the compilers, you see here, they will be storing the previous state of a program or a function call. So this is one real-time example. For example, reversing a line I have shown in polish strings. Here the compilers they refer they refer in the sense they are able to get the previous state of the program. If you are having the programs and if you are doing any performing function calls, all that states will be remembered. This is one application where stack will be storing the function call. Whenever a function is called, it will be storing that, and then compilers will be using that stack to make remember of the function call. Again, backtracking, you know, the puzzles like Sudoku, NQueen problem, Knapsack. So these are all some of the applications which are related to the stack. In your syllabus, you are going to see about this polish strings. So your syllabus is limited to this. Moving to this polish strings, let us see some basic detail related to this. A Polish mathematician, he is named as Jan Lukasiewicz. He placed he created the Polish strings based on three types, that is infix, postfix and then prefix. As I have said that only two operands and one operator can be understood by a machine. So here in prefix, before the operands he placed the operators, and in postfix he placed the operators after the operands, and in fix he placed the operator between the operands. So the arrangement of the complex arithmetic expression into a simple expression in the form that it contains only one operator with two operands is called as the polish string. Under the polish strings, he has been categorized into three ways: prefix, postfix and then infix. We'll see the example. So how the expression notation given in all these forms. As I have said, in infix, the operator will be placed between the operands, and then in prefix, the operator will be placed before the operands, and in postfix, it is also called as suffix, the operator will be placed after the operands. And one thing you have to know, postfix expression has the advantage when dealing with the machine. I am speaking. So here when this postfix expression is noted, what is the advantage behind this is that it determines the precedence by itself and it is easy to evaluate the expression. But in disadvantages based on this is the operator precedence and tracking of the precedence is difficult. So if you will be inserting the braces, after the insertion only you can go for tracking the precedence. So this is the disadvantages behind the infix expression. But in postfix there is no brackets, so here the determination of the operator precedence is determined by the machine, that is programs are written and then it will be determined and then it is easy to evaluate. Then conversion of infix to postfix expression. Why we have to convert the infix to postfix or prefix means, as I have said that the complex instructions are difficult, as well as in infix it is having the brackets, that is the braces, so it is difficult for the compiler to understand. So it has been converted into postfix expression where there is no brackets, as well as I have said that the advantage of this is it is having the algorithm to calculate the operator precedence itself, and the evaluation will be easier. Okay, so likewise the infix can also be converted into prefix, that prefix can also be evaluated by the compiler, but mostly the expression evaluation will be based by converting infix to postfix, and then the expression is evaluated. We can evaluate using prefix too. So what I've said now, evaluation, it can be done either for the postfix as well as the prefix expression. Infix, we can do it manually. That is, we know that how we can give the operator precedence or how we can insert the braces. So infix can be done by ourselves. You see what I have said here, infix expression. So how you have to do the infix expression evaluation means, it will be done in two passes. First you have to insert the brace, otherwise the expression will be calculated wrongly, and then convert the innermost braces into the postfix notation. You can either convert it and then repeat these steps until the expression is converted. So in stack this can be done in one pass, but when you are doing it manually it is done in two passes. First we have to insert the braces and then we will be calculating. So in manual infix expression two passes, but in your implementing using stack it is done in one pass. Moving to the next expressions, that is conversion of infix expression and then the evaluation of the expression we will see in detail. Before that, as I have said about the operator precedence, I have given some of the regularly used operators. We are having so many operators in Python, and then we have to see about that precedence. But most probably or mostly used operators are in Python are these in this expression. So this is exponentiation, and then that is the complement symbol, and unary plus and then the unary minus, and here multiplication, division, modulo division, and then this is a floor division. Okay, addition and then subtraction. So this is the operator present. This is having the higher priority and this is having the lower priority. You know that what is unary plus and minus, that is this is given to a single operand. Unary means it is given to these all things, all these three is given to a single operand. The others are given to the if the operand, if you are having two operands. So binary operators are this, this, and then this, and this is the unary operator. Okay, then based on the logical operators, not is having the higher priority, and then are and then and then or. Next, moving to the expression evaluation of the postfix expression. Okay, so I have said that when you are going to evaluate the expression, it is you going to use only one stack. One stack is used, and then the expression, you know that it is without the parenthesis, and then evaluated as two operands and then operator. What are the rules then? We have to see the rules. First you have to read the expression from left to right. Next is, when you are reading the expression, you will be having operands and operators in a postfix expression. So when you refer here, that is when you are encountering an operand, push it into the stack. And then when you are referring an operator, you have to check whether it is a unary operator or a binary operator. If it is a unary operator, you will be applying to the operand which is at the top of the stack. If it is a binary operator, you have to pop two operands and then evaluate with that operator. After that, you have to push that resultant value into the stack. So if it is a binary operator, you will be popping two operands and then evaluating, and if it is a unary operator, you will be popping one operand and then evaluate. For example, I have given this operator. Then push back the result. After evaluation, you have to push it back to the result. So these steps will be repeated till the end of the expression. Okay, and after performing all the operations, if the result will be placed at the bottom of the stack, so you can get it. So here we can see one example, that is, this is the expression, postfix expression, and this is the value given to this expression. We can see, you see here how the expression is calculated. I have said, remember of the algorithms, when there is an operand you have to perform the push. So here A, so it is pushed, and for B again operand push it, so pushing will be done at the top. So here at the top element will be at the here B is the top element, and then the next operator, when the operator is referred, that is if it is a binary operator, pop two operands and then perform the operation and then push the result. So he will be popping the two operands. For reference, I have added this part. So he pop it. So B and then A. So you have to pop it. One thing you have to know, that which element to be, that is the top of the element to be placed as the second operand, and then the next element to be placed as the first operand. So here I have referred this. So top is at the second operator, and then the operand, and then the next element is at the first operand. So you have to use this, think of this, because when you are going for prefix it will be changing. So A and then plus B, so the value of A and B has been substituted 5. Next element, next is the C. So here C is an operand, so push it onto the stack. I have said that after calculating the expression, push it into the stack, so the result has been pushed into the stack. So then C, push it here. Then next is the operand, so pop it. So 5 and C has been popped. So this comes as the second operand and this comes as the first operand. Then the operator is this, so perform the calculation and the result is pushed into the stack. Next is D, push it, and then next is the slash operator. So this is the second operand, first operand, perform this division and you will be getting the value 5. Next is E, push it. Next F, again it is an operand, push it. Next is an operator, so pop the elements 1 and then this is the second element, this is the first element. Find the exponentiation 3, exponentiation 4, that is 108. You see, if you are performing wrongly, that is F here and then E here, the answer will be getting different. You will be getting different answers. So think of in mind, that is when you are evaluating the postfix expression, you have to keep in mind that is the operator at the top of the stack should be placed as a second operand, and then the next operand to be placed at the first operand. Okay, because in prefix the ulta will be having. Next is the plus. For example, you see here plus. So again there is no problem. So here we will be adding, this is the second element, first element, add it, you are getting 1 and 3. Next is the operand, so push it, and then next is the division. Again you are going to perform the operation. So G is placed here, you see here 113 divided by G. Again, if you are doing a wrong in this place, that is G here and then 113 here, you will be getting the wrong answers. If you are going to perform the operation with the exponentiation and division, surely it will be giving the errors, that is errors in the case you will be getting the wrong answer. So don't forget to have in mind that when you are evaluating the postfix expression, when you are pushing the operands from the stack, the second to be placed at that is the top element to be placed at the second position, and then the next element to be placed at the first position, because this exponentiation division will be creating problems. No problem with the plus minus multiplication operators. So keep in mind this and you place as it is and then you calculate. So for manual calculation I have given this, but it will be using this stack because it will be evaluating and then pushing again into the stack. So only one stack will be used in this evaluation of the postfix expression. So the answer is, you will be getting this 18.83. I have said that in Python the stack will be implemented with integers, characters and then the float. So if you are defining it as a float, it will be taking 18.83. If you are defining the data type as 18, then integer, then it will be giving the answer as 19. Okay, so depending upon the data type declaration, you will be getting the answer. Next is the evaluation of the prefix expression. Going for this expression evaluation, here you see it will be using two stacks. In postfix, I have calculated the intermediate result. separately to show you, but it will be using only one stack. But in prefix expression evaluation, it will be using two stack. The intermediate result will be kept in a separate stack. Okay, so here it will be using the symbol stack and then the number stack. In symbol stack, it will be having operators and operands or values. In number stack, it will be only having the values. Okay, so same rules as the postfix expression. You have to keep two things in mind. One is you have to scan the expression from right to left. There you will be scanning from left to right, here from right to left. And then how to perform the operations on the stack operands. In postfix I have said that the second operand as the top and then the next element as the first. Here in prefix, the second element, that is the top element, is the first operand and then the next element is the second operand. So you should keep both these in mind. But in some websites and some things, they are giving that you have to reverse the string. I think in your book also I found the reversed string only to evaluate the prefix expression, but that is not the correct way. When it is a postfix expression, you have to scan the expression from left to right. When it is an prefix expression, you have to scan the expression from the right to left. That's all. Then there is a change that performing when you are evaluating the expression, that is when you are performing the operations with the two operands, you should keep in mind both these points. That's all. Okay, we'll see the example. So two stack, as I've said, it will be using, you see here, two stacks. One is to store this and one is to perform the intermediate output. This I have done manually for postfix to show you, but in postfix it will be having only one stack. Here it will be storing the intermediate result in the separate stack. Okay. So this expression is given here. You see here, this expression, the same purpose, but it will be from the right to left. So when there is an operand, you push the operands. When there is an operator, you have to pop the elements of the top two elements. Here D will be taken as the first and then E will be taken as the second operand. This is the thing you have to understand. Other than that, all the process are same. Evaluate it. After evaluating, push the element into the stack. So the same thing with this symbols and then pushing again with this symbols. You see here C and B. So what you will be doing, B is the top element, so place here, and this is the second element, so place here, and you will be performing. Okay, see here, coming for this division, you see here GN 39, you see this is the top of the element which should be placed at the first, and then G is the next element, go for this. So I'll be getting this answer. You can do the same expression for the postfix too. I will give the expression. This expression I have calculated when I am performing the conversion of the infix to the postfix as well as the prefix expression, which will be in the coming slides. You can calculate for the postfix too. I have done it and have got the result too, so you can do it. So this is the way. Please keep in mind this only, and then the string to be calculated from right to left. Don't go for reverse of the strings, it will get confused. This is my kind advice. Okay, and next going to the conversion. First we'll look after this conversion of infix to postfix. This is in your syllabus, but infix to prefix is not in your syllabus, but I have included that too. If anyone wants, you can look over it. So here you have to go for the algorithm. What is the algorithm here is, whenever you encounter the open braces, it may be a square brace or normal brace or a curly brace, anything, if you have to push it. And if it is an operand, what you have to do, you have to write it into the output box, that is in the output expression box. You have to write, that is it is to be done with the left to right, the scanning to be done from the left to right, and as well as the writing to be done from the left to right. Next, when an operator is formed, what you have to do here, you have to think of this algorithm. If the operator inside the stack is equal or higher, that is the entering operator is having, if the operator inside the stack you are having some operator and one operator is coming in, the operator inside the stack, if it is equal or higher than the incoming operator, then you have to pop the operators from the stack, and then add to the output box. So the operators which are equal or higher than the incoming operator to be popped from the stack, and then they have to placed into the output box, and the operator which is incoming operator to be pushed into the operator stack. Else, if the incoming operator is having the higher precedence than the inside operators, then nothing to be done, just push to the operator. Okay, so this is the point you have to remember. If the incoming operator is having higher precedence, just push it. If the incoming operator is having the lesser precedence, then you have to pop the operands which are equal or having the higher precedence than the incoming operator, then place it into the output box, then the incoming operator to be pushed into the stack. Then what happens when you encounter the close braces? So you have to pop the terms from the stack until an equivalent of that open brace has been found. So up to that it will be popping and then placing it into the output box. If there are remaining, if the expressions have been scanned, and if you are having any operands or operators in the stack, what to be done? You pop it and then write it to the output box. So this is the algorithm. We will see with the example. So this is the expression. We are going to convert it. Think of the algorithm. Whenever there is an operand, you have to write it to the output box. So A, return. If it is an operator, you have to push it into the stack by checking whether it is having the higher precedence or lower precedence, because in this stack initially it is empty, so no problem, just pushed it. Then here is a bracket. So come to this. First, when you are doing this, first you have to prepare a stack. You write the expressions from left to right, that is A plus bracket and then open brace and then BC. First write down this correctly, then we can go for the operations. Okay, so I have written this, and then next is the open bracket. So when you encounter any open braces, push it onto the stack. So pushed, and then again brace, push it onto the stack. Operand, write it to the output expression. So here is also stack, this is the top of the stack. Okay, then plus, here you see operator. So you have to check with the here no operator, we are having only the brace, so no problem, push it. C again, push it, sorry, write it into the output expression. A close brace. So here when a close brace, you see here, when a close brace is encoded, you have to pop the elements from the stack until its equivalent open brace is found. So here you see you are having this, so you have to pop it. So it is popped and placed here, and you have to leave this. Okay, you have to check for its equivalent open operator, and then the elements before that will be popped and then placed in the stack, and you have to leave this, so it will be left out. Next, the remaining elements are this and this. Going for the next operator. So here no checking for presence, so just place it. And then one open bracket, again place it. Then operand, write it. Then operator, then push it. Here it is having brace, so no problem for checking the presence, just write it. Next, E again you can write here. Next is the close brace. So you have to check for its equivalent open. So here the equivalent open is this. The before that is having only one operator. So pop it and place it in the stack. Okay. So here from the stack it is popped and then placed here. You see here next operator is asterisk. So when you are pushing into the stack, you have to check with the operator precedence. This is having higher precedence, so it is pushed. Okay, and then here next is F right here. Next is the close bracket, check for its equivalent open. So here we are having two operators, so pop it one by one and then you place it, first asterisk and then the place. Next is the division symbol, so just you will be checking with the operator inside the stack. So this is having the higher precedence, so pushing it into the stack. Next is G, this with this the expression ends, and then it is written here 10. After the end of the expression, you have to check whether some more items where there is any operators or operands left in the stack. Here it is left with the two operators. So just what you have to do, you have to pop it and write it in the output expression. So this is the equivalent postfix expression of this infix expression. So you have to think of the algorithm. If there is an operand, write it to the output box, and if it is a open brace, you have to place it into the stack, and if you encounter a closed brace, you have to pop the operands or operators which are inside the stack to the output box. And if you are going to encounter any operators, you have to check with the operators inside the stack. If it is having the higher precedent, push it into the stack. If the operator is inside the stack is having the higher priority or equal priority, all that to be popped into the output box, and then this incoming to be pushed into the stack. So this is the algorithm. Keep in mind, and then you can evaluate. Okay, so this is the conversion of infix expression to postfix expression. Next is, this is not in your syllabus now, but I am going to conclude with this topic since I don't want to skip it. Okay, conversion of infix to prefix. Again, when you are evaluating, you will be scanning the expression from right to left. Likewise, here also you will be scanning right to left, and then write the expression from right to left in the output box too. And then the algorithm is same as that of the postfix expression, the same thing. But here what you have to do is, there when you are referring the open bracket, you will be pushing into the stack, and when it is and close braces, you will be checking for the corresponding input and then popping. Here the reverse of that, that is when you are having the, since you are scanning the expression from the right to left, the closed brackets will be pushed into the stack, and then the open braces will be taken as a point where you will be checking with its equivalent close braces to pop the elements from the stack. So this is the thing you have to remember. That's all. Okay, again I am saying that all will be saying that please reverse the expression and then perform same as the postfix. I will not prefer that, because this is an easy way, just will be remembering the things, and then the same can be applied. It will not be confusing according to me. So please don't reverse the expression or the strings before evaluating. It's, think of postfix means left to right, and then prefix means right to left. That's all. And then in evaluation, you have to think of which is to be placed as the first operand and then the second operand. Likewise in prefix, here also the same thing. Okay, open and close will be changed. In postfix, you will be referring this as a that is, you will be checking with the open and then the close. Here you will be checking with the close and then the open. That's all, the reverse of that. So the same thing, when you perform the close, that is when you refer to the braces of the closed braces, push it. When you are having a open braces, you have to pop all the elements from the stack until it's equivalent, and then the closed parenthesis is encode, and then remove all it, and then it should be left out. Okay, the same thing, operand means you will be writing, and then operator means you will be checking with the presence and you will be pushing. That's all. Operators inside has the lower presence means that you will be pushing. The same algorithm as that of the postfix. So no changes except scanning from right to left and then encountering this close and then the open braces. Okay, we'll see the example. The same expression I have given. You see here, operand, write it. As I have said, you have to write from right to left. In postfix, you'll be writing from left to right. This is the one difference. Okay, you think of in, that is, you keep in mind. So when an operator, push it. Again, you see, this is the close braces, so you'll be pushing it. Operand, write it. Operator, here no operators in the stack, so just push it. You see, close, so place it. E, write it. Place. There is no nothing, that is nothing in this, that is no operator before this, so just push it. Then operand, write it. Then open. When here comes the open brace, you have to encounter its equivalent closed brace. Push the operators. So push it and then place it here. Okay, no problem. Okay, next is the asterisk. Place it, and then likewise the process will be going on. You see here, next is the plus and next is the symbol. You see here plus and then C and then please. As I have already said, you have to write the expressions first. First from G slash F asterisk E plus D plus. So you have to write all the expression and then perform referring this. Then the close braces again, then C, write it here, plus you push it, we write it here, and then one open. So open means corresponding close brace is found, and then you will be writing. Here you see again one open, so corresponding close braces, pop it and then write it. Again a place operator. Here you see it is having the lower precedence when compared to this, so you have to pop it and then you have to place it. So this is one example. You can see here the incoming operator is having the lower precedence when compared to the operator inside the stack, so you have to remove it and then you have to place this operator. And the next is the a, that is written here. So after the end of the expression, you are at the left out operator here is this, so you have to check for the stack and then you have to pop it and then place it here. That's all. So you'll be writing the expression from right to left, and then you'll the same operations, that is the algorithm to be followed as in postfix. Just when you encounter a close braces, push it. When you encounter a open braces, check out for its equivalent close braces and then pop the operators which are present in the stack and then place it into the output expression. Okay, so this is the algorithm regarding this, and this is not in your syllabus. If you want, you can refer it, otherwise you keep in mind, but you are having the evaluation of both the postfix as well as the prefix expression. So thank you for the people who are all watching my channel. And in this session, I have completed with the term 2 stack data structure, which is the limited portion in this year 2021. In the next session, I'll move on to the next topic related to computer networks. Thank you again.